All right, welcome everyone. My name is Joel Helmer. Welcome to my office. This is my office here at Concordia University in Seward, Nebraska, and I'm here to talk to you today about my new book, Nebraska's Bucks and Bulls, the greatest stories of hunting whitetail, mule deer, and elk in the Cornhusker State. And so I want to thank Carla Kettner and Chapters Books and Gifts for the opportunity to talk to you today. And if you are interested in purchasing the book, please support our local bookstore, Chapters. So again, a little bit about myself. I am a geography professor here at Concordia. And so much of this book is geography related, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit. But maybe one of the most important things to know about me is I'm a lifelong hunter. I'm a lifelong outdoorsman. For the last 35, 40 years, for really as long as I can remember, I had a real interest in the outdoors, whether it was fishing, hunting, camping, hiking. I guess that kind of melds with my interest in geography. So when you're doing those activities, you're exploring and you're experiencing nature. And so that's kind of my passion. And as a young kid, growing up, I was a real voracious reader of outdoor magazines and books, but especially magazines. So I grew up reading Outdoor Life and Field and Stream and Nebraska Land, all those wonderful publications, and so kind of led to, actually it ended up leading to kind of a side career. I became an outdoor writer. And so for about the last 20 years, I've written quite a few magazine articles in outdoor publications like American Hunter, Outdoor Life, Nebraska Land, Outdoor Oklahoma. And so that's been an enjoyable process. So, the inspiration for this particular book, though, happened in 2016. So my daughter, Hannah, was 14 at the time, and we put in for an elk tag. A lot of people don't realize it, but there are elk in Nebraska, especially out in the far western part of the state. And so I would always put in for a tag for me and my children to draw an elk tag. It's pretty tough to draw an elk tag in Nebraska. They don't give out too many tags. But I think it was the second year I put in for my daughter Hannah, and she drew an elk tag. And so in 2016, we traveled far to the far northwestern corner of Nebraska for her elk hunt in late September. Beautiful country out there, just gorgeous, gorgeous terrain in the Pine Ridge of far northwest Nebraska. And my daughter, first morning of her hunt, shot an amazing, beautiful American elk. And it ended up being a new state record. So there is a records book right here in Nebraska and a national records book that keeps track of very large elk, mule deer, whitetail. But anyway, so she shot this magnificent elk. She is actually right here on the cover, right over here, of my book with her elk. And so the reaction to that was quite amazing. The pictures made it onto social media. It kind of went viral. And so Hannah and I, Hannah especially, she did multiple radio interviews. Her pictures and with her elk ended up in magazines. Governor Ricketts sent us a handwritten note congratulating her. There was a full back spread, entire page of the Omaha World Herald about her hunt. There was even a couple here in Nebraska who sent Hannah a $100 check just because they were so excited about her as a young girl shooting this state record, and they wanted us to use that for taxidermy. So just a lot of really cool things happened after that hunt. And so I'd always had the idea in the back of my mind to write this book, but that experience really inspired me to start. Because what I found and I knew was that people just have a real interest in hunting stories. Hunters are very passionate about what they do. They care a great deal about it. It's something they do with their families. It's something that they share with their loved ones. It's just part of their life, and especially here in Nebraska. Nebraskans love the outdoors. They love to hunt. And so the reaction was quite amazing. So that was the inspiration. And so I wrote a proposal for the book and sent it to UNL Press. And they really liked it. They thought it was a good idea. And so this was back in 2018, actually. And so I got a book contract with UNL Press, and I started the process of collecting stories. I spent 2 years traveling around Nebraska, contacting hunters, interviewing hunters. That was in itself quite the process. The records book helped with that, because when you have an animal officially scored to get in the records book, you have a score sheet. And a lot of times there's information, address, phone numbers, emails. So I started contacting hunters. And that was a tedious process because, again, some of these records, these animals were from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. And so I eventually tracked down and interviewed, I think I interviewed 40 to 50 different people. Some people emailed their stories into me. But there was a process there where I gathered all of these stories. Once I had them, I started writing each one into a unique story. And so really the book is actually a collection of short stories. There's 68 chapters, if you will. But they're short stories, and each tells not just the story of the hunt, but I meld in a good bit of Nebraska history, Nebraska ecology, and Nebraska geology, Nebraska geography, and so I tried in each story to tell the broader story about the families, the people, their surroundings. And it was just a joy to write. I got to visit many small towns that I'd never been to. I got to go to parts of the state that I had never been to. I just met so many wonderful people. And I will say this, Nebraskans, it's kind of cliche, but Nebraskans are such nice people. They invited me into their homes. They invited me to dinner, invited me to share their cold beer with them. And it was just fun. It was an enjoyable process, gathering the stories, writing the stories. It was a great deal of work, but I'm very proud of the final product. Another big part of the book are the pictures, right? Hunting stories, and really, of course, if you're writing about a whitetail or writing about a mule deer, hunters want to see a picture, right? So they can see the animal, and then as they're reading about it, they can see a picture. And so every story has at least one picture, some of them multiple pictures. There's also some of the score sheets in the book. And so that was interesting as well, because the pictures span the years, again, from the 40s and 50s all the way up until the 2010s. And so I love historic photographs of wildlife and hunting, because it shows, the differences, the change in clothing, the change in vehicles, kind of the change in the guns that were used. And so there's a real, it's really a book that shows the history, the change in hunting in Nebraska. And so I'm really proud of the final product. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition for hunters here in Nebraska. It ended up being about 360 pages. Like I said, 70 short stories. And again, lots of historic photographs. So it's not a book that you have to sit down and, read front to back. You can open it up to a particular chapter, and you can read it. And then you can skip to another one that kind of catches your eye, and you can read that chapter. So it's a nice, if you will, a coffee table book. You can pick it up and flip through it and kind of read what catches your eye. And so I think it'd be a great book, especially for young readers, or people interested in again, Nebraska history, geography, and hunting. And so I hope that kind of helps you to understand a little bit about the book. Again, I would encourage you to purchase it through Chapters, and hope you found this interesting and helpful. And thank you for your time.